a goldsmith lived in a town. The man was quite pious and good-hearted. Every day, he would go to work before the sun rose. His shop was in front of the ruler's palace. Every day before opening the shop, the goldsmith raised both hands towards the sky and prayed to Allah, saying, "O great wise sustainer, O forgiver, you are infinite. You are almighty over everything. Even if something falls under the sea, you have the power to bring it back to the dry state." He used to open the door of the shop with this prayer. As the king's palace was close, by the sound of the goldsmith's prayers would wake the king from his sleep every day, because the windows of the palace were open. One day when the king woke up, the king cried out in rage, "Who is this man who every morning spoils my restful sleep, and breaks my beautiful dreams?" The king called one of his servants, and found out that it was the work of a goldsmith. And his shop is in front of the palace. Because of this, the king thought that the goldsmith should be taught. Calling the vizier, he took a diamond ring and leaving the palace, both of them walked towards the goldsmith's shop. The goldsmith was shocked to see the king in front of his shop. The king showed the precious ring to the goldsmith and said, "In this ring there is a yakut stone or ruby worth several thousand gold coins. I am very afraid of losing this precious stone. That's why I came to you. You will make another stone exactly like this ruby with a colored glass. I will always wear that fake ring. And on special occasions I will wear the real ruby ring." Saying this, the king gave the ring to the goldsmith and said, "Keep the ring carefully." The goldsmith took the ring and put it in a small box inside the chest and closed the door of the chest. The king said to the goldsmith, "Give me a glass of water." The goldsmith hastened to fetch water for the king. Meanwhile, the king opened the door of the chest and put the ring in his pocket. The goldsmith also arrived with water. Water was given to the king. The king said to the goldsmith, "Close the door of the ark before I go." The goldsmith did so. At last the king said, "You have been given 3 days. I want my ring in 3 days. On the morning of the 4th day, I will take the fake ring and the original ring together from you. Be careful again, be careful. If you lose my ring, your neck will be lost." Saying this, the king left with the vizier towards the sea. Went to the seashore, and boarded a boat. After the boat had gone some distance from the seashore, the king threw his real ring into the water. Then the boat came ashore, and the king and his vizier returned to the palace. The goldsmith closed his shop, and returned home and narrated the whole incident to his wife. His wife said to him, "Hurry back to the shop. It is not right to leave the king's ring in the chest like this before making a fake ring. If you lose that ring, will your neck go? Go back quickly. Shall not be separated from the king's ring even for a moment." The goldsmith quickly returned to the shop after hearing his wife's words. He opened the door of the chest and took out the small box. Opened the box and saw that there was nothing inside. The goldsmith was surprised. Where did the ring go? How did it go? Soon the goldsmith's wife brought food for her husband to the shop. The goldsmith was very worried when he came. The goldsmith told the bride that there is no ring in the casket. The wife slapped her cheek and cried and frantically searched for the ring with her husband all day long, but to no avail. 3 days passed like this. For those 3 days, the king did not listen to the prayers of the goldsmith, nor was the king's sleep disturbed. The king called his vizier and said, "My plan has worked. The goldsmith no longer wakes me up in the morning." But on the morning of the 4th day, as before, the king woke up to the sound of the goldsmith raising his hands in prayer. The king went furiously to the goldsmith's shop. With him went one of his sepoys with a sword. The king went and saw the goldsmith very happy. Seeing this situation, the king's anger rose. Said to the goldsmith, "3 days are over. If you don't give me 2 rings, your neck will go." The goldsmith very naturally opened the door of the chest, took out the box and presented the 2 rings to the king. The king was surprised and said, "Impossible. Incredible. How did you get this ring? How did you make a ring exactly like the one I threw into the sea?" The goldsmith said, "When my wife and I were disappointed about getting the ring, We could not go to the shop, and stayed at home. I gave up eating and drinking. My wife went to the market, and bought a big fish. Your precious ring was found, inside the belly of the fish. I recognized it as the king's ring. I quickly took the ring to the shop and started working. That's it. I made a ring just like you wanted. After work I recited again the prayer that you hear every day. The king couldn't believe it. He raised his hands and hugged the goldsmith to his chest and said, Subhanallah. You are really a good servant. I apologize for everything I did to put you in danger. Then the king hurriedly told his sepoys to fill a big bag and bring dinars for the goldsmith. Sepai did so. The king gave them to the goldsmith and said, From now on every morning you will wake me up with Khale's dua. Pray, O wise sustainer. O forgiver. You are the possessor of infinite power, you are omnipotent over all things. Even if something falls under the sea, you have the power to bring it back to dry land. Dear audience, the purpose of the story is to teach us that we should never lose hope in the face of danger and trust in Allah. There are many unexpected dangers in people's life at different times. Surely Allah is sufficient as a helper. Therefore, no matter how difficult the danger comes in our life, let us remember Allah in all situations and believe that Allah will save us from danger.